Bienvenido a Mambo Podcast. Si te gusta la vaina, suscríbete a la vaina, dale like a la vaina y comparte la vaina. Mambo. Pues para presentarla a Cristina, que ella tiene su propio canal en YouTube, que se trata, bueno, mejor yo prefiero que ella explique sobre de qué se trata su canal. Yo tengo mi visión sobre lo que me gusta de los detalles de su canal, pero es bien versátil el canal de ella. Pues, Cristina.
Sí, bueno, yo me llamo Cristina, gracias por tenerme aquí en tu canal. Yo empecé mi canal haciendo videos de maquillaje, haciendo tutoriales y cosas así, y poco a poco empecé a hacer videos sobre la cultura dominicana y un poquito sobre la historia y cosas así. También hablo de vez en cuando sobre temas sociales y raciales, cosas así. Y también hago videos sobre culturas de otros países que están en Latinoamérica y también hago videos sobre la historia de diferentes géneros de música que también vienen de Latinoamérica y cosas así. Yo también hago video requests que la gente me mandan. So, yo hago un poquito de todo en mi canal. So, yeah.
Amén, pues muchas bendiciones a tu canal que está haciendo un trabajo tremendo. Me encantan mucho los videos sobre los bailes, los videos sobre bueno, el favorito mío fue la que hiciste sobre, no me recuerdo el apellido en el momento, pero Victoria de Perú, con la música afroperuana.
Sí.
Lindísimo que quedó ese canal. Eso fue de un requerido también que pidieron.
Yeah. Sobre mujeres notables, bueno, mujeres negras que son de Latinoamérica, que muchas veces no sabemos de ellas, no sabemos de sus historias. Me pidieron ese video y ya lo hice. Y estaba ahí.
Tremendo, tremendo. Y en el mes de la hispanidad, las entrevistas que hiciste de todito, yo pensaba que había uno que era mi favorito, pero uno de los últimos que hiciste fue con un caballero de Puerto Rico que se mudó para de todos los sitios para down south de los Estados Unidos.
Sí.
Me gustó mucho de los datos que él dio ahí y sobre el conocimiento de la música de los ojos de él, de lo que él vio la experiencia en los 90s con lo que estaba pasando con el reggaetón, el Spanish rap y el dembow y cosas así.
Yeah, no. Ya me gustó mucho esa entrevista también.
Now, I'm going to go ahead and, we can jump in with English because it's mostly going to be Spanish, but, we're going to jump in with English because estamos acostumbrados a eso en este país que... un pancake es un pancake, un sándwich es un sándwich. Un pizza es una pizza.
Exacto.
So, pretty much one of the things I really wanted to talk to you about was your take on the gap between the older generation and the younger generation and how they see things in social media and how they're able to communicate with each other as well.
And this has to be in Spanish, right?
You can go ahead and explain it in English.
Okay. Well, I definitely feel like, there is a bit of a age gap when it comes to the whole experience of social media. I think that for us younger people, I guess I could include myself in the younger crowd. I'm 32, so I'm not super old.
Yes, it qualifies.
Yeah. So I think at this point, social media has just become so much a part of our daily life. And it's really how we communicate with each other and with the rest of the world. We've become so hyper connected, and we can just easily, reach out and connect with people from, our same areas or hometown, or with somebody like on the opposite end of the earth. And that's just the norm now. We use social media for everything, and it's to the point where people feel the need to record and upload every single thing that they do, from, the food of plate that they're eating, to, oh, I'm taking my dog on a walk. Hey, going to the store. Hey, so again, it's just become such a part of our daily lives, sometimes to the point where it's like overly consuming. But so I think that's kind of more of the norm of what you're seeing with the younger generation versus some of the older. Well, you do see some older folk that are on social media too. They're right up there with the young folk, but I mean, I definitely see there's less of that dependency of social media when it comes to like the older crowd. Yeah. So, and you see that, they're still getting the hang of it. They like it, but they're not glued to it the way younger people are. Yeah.
Okay, well, I do see that a lot of younger people are refining the way in which they post things and some of the things that they talk about as well. Because some of them, although they don't have like a platform that's like has like a specific subject that they like to talk about, but more of a sense their daily thoughts, at random, like 1 or 2 minute
Mhm.
clips on their insight, and sometimes it's useful as in other forms of conversation, like in person with someone older, either well, I'll give an age range between like 16 and 21. Usually,
Mhm.
they feel like they're being judged as they're speaking to someone that's in 30 and above, due to the
Mm.
fact that they have a lot more experience. So they think they're always constantly being judged. But as they just have that time limit in which they want to express themselves a little bit without any interruptions, we get to hear what their real thoughts are. So in that sense, it kind of does help close that gap of communication. And they
Mm.
start realizing that some of us are still trying to figure this out. People are in their 50s still trying to figure out life. So you're not alone.
Yeah. Right, right. No, I mean, I think, it's definitely given people an outlet, especially younger people, an outlet to, while, I mean, like you said, in some cases they may feel like they're being judged, but I think in a lot of cases though, they kind of see that as like their safe space, or, where they can really let out their feelings and, maybe express themselves in a way that they can't express themselves in person, because there's less pressure because you're just typing something, you're not like face to face with someone, so in that sense, they are able to communicate whatever their thoughts are with, either their peers or, people that are older than them. So in that sense, I can definitely see how, it actually helps to bridge that communication gap a little. So yeah, I mean, I guess it would also depend if the older people are on social media too. But for the ones that are, if they can see that, then yeah, I mean, I definitely see that having a positive effect as far as the communication gap goes.
Yeah, definitely. I like the fact that a lot of the younger crowds, when they type in their stuff, Facebook has a habit of reminding them of what they said about a year or two ago, sometimes
Yeah.
even go back even like 10 years ago.
Yeah.
It gives them a chance to see how much they grew. And they're like,
Mm.
I wrote that?
Yeah. 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 I see my Facebook memories all the time, like 4 years ago. And like I said, it'll go back as 10 years ago. You posted this, and it's like, wow. I mean, usually for me, it's like pictures that I posted. So, I mean, in that sense, it's cool to see how much either you've changed or like people in the picture. But yeah, but occasionally I do get those of like certain like statuses that I posted, and things that were relevant or important to me back then. And it's like, wow, come a long way.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Hmm.
Yeah. I do notice that the younger crowd does prefer Instagram more than Facebook.
Yeah.
Twitter, I think that's a whole different culture. I think that doesn't even have like an age to it, because I've heard of people that are in their 90s sharing a little bit too much on Twitter. And it's like, Twitter is like, you don't get to delete it afterwards either. I don't know how people get to do that, but at least in Instagram and Facebook, you get a chance to delete yourself after the fact. Like, wait a second, did I really write that? Or the typos or misspells? But I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
It's a different culture with Twitter, but right now,
Oh, for sure.
predominantly, I do see Instagram and Facebook being like the dominant.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, I have a Twitter. I occasionally go on it, but for some reason, I don't know. I just can't fully grasp Twitter, like using it. I mean, I get the basics of how to like send a tweet or whatever, but I don't know. It's just like you said, that's a whole different beast. Like, I don't know. I can't really get into it. My things that I use the most are definitely Instagram and Facebook, but more so Instagram. I use Instagram a lot more than I do Facebook. Also because like there's less people that personally know me on Instagram. Like my Facebook is like, I got all my family here. I got all my family in DR. I have all the church people. And it's like people from high school, like everybody's on my Facebook. So it's like, okay, I don't need all y'all seeing everything that I post. So I see my Instagram being a little more exclusive, restricted. So yeah, I post more on there. Mhm.
That's great that you say that because I do see that. Well, I myself, I have a very short time on Instagram, and I do see that it seems to be more. You get to be more selective, slightly more expressive in a certain way, as opposed to trying to fit into a certain culture. So I do feel
Mhm.
that Facebook does have like a Facebook culture in which people communicate, share things, and sometimes it gets to the point that you get to build really personal relationships with people. But on Instagram, it doesn't always have to be personal, but
Yeah.
and it doesn't have that almost like that brain fart type of thing, which I'm not trying to insult Twitter, but it almost seems like everyone that has like a brain fart, they're like, oh yeah, that's a great idea. I'm gonna write this right away and then tweet it. Then about a day later, I keep hearing about how sometimes they kind of regret putting that up, almost like a drunk tweet, but except that they're sober. But on Instagram, you kind of see like there is a lot of support with like the people that you communicate with. They
Yeah.
like your stuff. They started following you because of something positive you did.
Right.
I can't speak on the negative because I still haven't seen anything negative that anybody said to me or that I've done to people. But everything's always like, I want to support what you're doing because I see kind of where this is going. Now, for some reason, there has been those instances. There's been people that after 3 or 4 days, they'll watch like some of my older podcasts that I used to put on Instagram. Now stop that habit. I just stop. I leave it all on YouTube. For some reason, they don't get the full context because I only
Mm-hmm.
put like a little bit of it, and they get offended and they stop following me.
Mm-hmm.
So I strictly decided I'm gonna leave that on YouTube where they get to see the full context and it doesn't become personal. But yes,
Right.
I agree with that. Instagram does seem more personal and more limited, and I don't have all my friends and families on like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah. Also, I mean, I actually have three different pages. I mean, I think you've seen two of them. I have my personal one. I have my one, which is, my makeup content, and then I have the other one that's related to my YouTube content. And lately, the YouTube one is the one that I use the most, because I've connected with so many people through that one because of everyone I've connected with through YouTube. So I am a lot more active on that one. But again, like most of these people don't personally know me, so it's just like less pressure, I guess. And I feel a little more free to, post what I really want to post. So yeah,
That
I
makes
don't think
sense.
everyone's free. Mm-hmm.
As this podcast is, we wound up making this mostly English. It was supposed to be mostly Spanish, but
I know.
um, I started off everything just with an English platform, but I kept incorporating things, which is almost impossible for me not to do. So now I had to create two platforms, which with Instagram, I have the What Would Dad Do and Mmambopodcast. So that's why have been incorporating things in such a way. This is supposed to be episode 15 of What Would Dad Do, but I'm actually using this on Mmambo and on What Would Dad Do. So as this
Okay.
is in English and Spanish, I can pretty much separate the videos and whatnot. But
Yeah.
aparte de eso, en la cultura de Facebook, estoy viendo mucho que hay mucha más facilidad que la gente de otros países que son de Latinoamérica, igual a Europa y en el Caribe, tienen más facilidad con conocer cómo manejarse y conectar con la gente, aparte del Instagram. El Instagram es un comentario, un like o un mensaje. Pero Facebook tiene la opción de hacer como lo que hacía YouTube. Antes se podía mandar un mensaje a quien tú estabas comunicando. Ahora no, es nada más un comentario y a veces le hacen caso a los comentarios.
Ujú.
Pero en Facebook no tiene tantas restricciones.
Okay. Bueno, creo que tienes razón. Algo que yo he notado también es que la mayoría de la gente de Latinoamérica parecen que tienen Facebook más que Instagram. Por ejemplo, mis familiares que están en RD, la mayoría tienen Facebook. Solo unos cuantos que tienen Instagram, pero creo que Facebook como que se le hace más fácil aprender cómo manejarlo y usarlo. Y como dijiste, es más fácil para mandar mensajes y mandar solicitud de amistad y cosas así. So, yeah, en ese sentido creo que Facebook es un poquito más fácil de usar. Yeah.
Muy bien, pues claro que básicamente hemos tocado de todos los detalles sobre el conocimiento con la juventud, igual que lo que son mucho más mayores.
Uh-huh.
Ahora, de lo que estoy viendo también es que la cantidad de videos que aparecen en Facebook, a veces muchos son videos de Daily Motion. Are you familiar with Daily Motion?
Yeah, I've seen some of those. They pop up on my feed as well.
De vez en cuando salen unos videos que son tremendos y no aparecen en YouTube. He encontrado muchos videos de salsa que no aparecen en YouTube. Yo intenté a buscarlo y no aparece. Pues en ese
Uh-huh.
sentido también me gusta Facebook, que tiene mucha conexión con cualquier plataforma. Además, el mismo Instagram. Tú puedes adaptar lo que tú vayas a poner en Instagram y a la vez enseñarlo en Facebook.
Sí. Uh-huh. Yeah. Bueno, yo no tengo eso. A mí me gusta tener mis cosas separadas. So, me dieron la opción que si, if you put something on Instagram, lo puedes poner en Facebook. Y dije, no, yo quiero mis cosas separadas. Okay. Pero no, en Facebook, claro, se puede encontrar bastante video y también videos viejos, cosas que la misma gente comparten. En el sentido de compartir video, creo que Facebook es un poquito más fácil con eso. Y pues yo he visto unos cuantos de esos videos de Dailymotion y bueno, no sabía que no se podían encontrar en YouTube, eso no sabía. Pero yo veo que la gente casi el día entero compartiendo videos y cosas así en Facebook, más que en Instagram. Porque ¿sabes? Instagram es más fotos. But, yeah.
Sí, Instagram me parece que es un poco más comercial que Facebook.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, eso sí. Y se ven mucho más ads y cosas. Bueno, en Facebook now también se ven mucho ads. Y cuando quieren mirar cierto video, ponen ads. But, creo que eso se ve más en Instagram. So, en ese sentido, Instagram es más comercial.
I do like the fact that Instagram has changed how you can upload stuff. There's not like a 1 or 2, 3 minute restriction like they used to have, or file size.
Yeah.
Now it's minimum 1 to 60 minutes. That has changed it so much more. It's so much more
Yeah.
exciting.
Yes. No, for sure. That was one of the challenges that I had too when I started uploading videos, like on my makeup one, because I would upload tutorials, but like I'd have to like really condense it because at one point, at first it was only 15 seconds, then it moved up to a minute. So once it moved up to a minute, it was like, okay, well now I can upload a longer one, but I still have to like really condense my video down to try and fit it all into 1 minute. But now you can do the IGTV and upload longer videos and stuff. So yeah, it's definitely made that easier as far as uploading videos and stuff like that, or sharing other videos.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that was
Yeah.
something that Instagram was missing.
Certainly. Yeah, definitely. The spam is not as bad as it used to be either.
Ah,
The first time I opened up an Instagram account, I stopped after like 6 weeks because the amount of spam I was getting, I'm like, I just signed on to this thing. Like, I'm just
yeah,
learning the curve, and all the
yeah.
messages I'm getting is just nothing but spam.
Yeah, no, I still get those two occasionally, but I guess it has gone down a little bit actually. Yeah, yeah. So I remember a few years ago they did like a big clean out of like bot accounts and stuff like that. So a lot of people lost a lot of subscribers actually. Especially the ones that bought subscribers. Because I don't know if you're aware people can buy subscribers or followers, I mean.
Wow.
So yeah, people with like all these thousands of followers, and after that cleanup, their follower count went down. So they kind of got exposed a little bit. But
Wow.
yeah, yeah. So I do think they've made a more effort to clean those out. But yeah, I mean, occasionally I do still get those kind of spam comments or love your work, come collab with us, and be like these fake accounts and stuff. Hmm. Yeah.
On Facebook, the famous one is hey, I like your page. Hey, check this out. Would you like to join our chat group that we're into these conversations? I'm like, oh boy,
Oh no.
I know where this is going. It's
Yeah.
100% free and you get to do whatever you want. Like, okay, delete.
Right. Exactly. Like
And
nope, I'm falling for that trap.
yeah. Now
Yeah.
the
No.
weird thing is finding out that you know people that are friends with all of those people. Like, how do we have
Mm.
like 4 or 5 mutual friends? Like, oh, maybe I need to come and go through these friend requests and the people who I accepted, block,
Yeah.
delete.
Uh-huh. Mhm. Right.
So in that sense, it has refined so much. I think all those restrictions can hinder a little bit of creativity. However, since it's still a brand new thing, I still take social media as a really brand new thing. I mean, it's not like the television. The television's been around for over 50 years,
Yeah. Right.
and it's
Long.
still not perfect.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, what are your plans for I'd say, well, like the next year? Like any visions? Well, I wouldn't specifically say plans, but well, like what visions would you like to hit as a goal target for your platform?
Oh man. To be honest, my vision when it comes to the future right now has been so clouded by everything going on. It's like, man, can I even really, how far into the future can I really even look into right now? But as far as my platform goes, my YouTube channel, my Instagram channel, I mean, I definitely plan to, continue uploading somewhat consistently because, I do want to continue to grow. Um, and also like with my content itself, I feel like this whole 2 years I've been on YouTube so far, my channel has definitely taken many turns, and it continues to take turns. And also I feel like the more diverse my following gets, my content itself ends up diversifying because now I have people from like different areas, different cultures, like requesting different things. And so in that sense, I feel like it continues to evolve. But I mean, I don't mind it though. I mean, essentially, I do want my platform to be kind of like this meeting ground where people from all over can kind of come together, even though it doesn't always happen harmoniously. But, we can kind of learn off of each other and bounce ideas off of each other. But yeah, I mean, I want to continue definitely doing a lot of content surrounding Latin America and the history and culture and music from there, but also incorporating other people as well. So I hope to continue to do that into the next coming year. And hopefully with everything going on in the world, I won't fall off, because I did go through a period early this summer when everything was like really like, oh my god, like I just couldn't focus on YouTube. Like I was just so mentally drained. I don't know, I guess just being constantly bombarded on social media every single day with all the riots and this and that, it was just too much. So hopefully, I won't go through that again. But yeah. So, that's my plans, or my goals as far as YouTube goes. And then, the same with my Instagram. Um, because I always cross post between Instagram and YouTube. And also with my makeup page as well, because that has ended up taking a bit of a back seat, actually, because my main channel now takes up most of my time. as far as content creation goes. But I want to get back on track with the makeup too. I don't want to lose sight of that. So yeah, those are my plans. Pretty much.
Well, those are some really good plans because yes, as human beings, we don't know what's going to come up. Sometimes what we see that's going on in the news and social media, there are times that it's like it is overwhelming. But
Yeah,
I think this year kind of helped refine a lot of us how we view it and how we limit how much we let in on a daily basis because it's bombarding. It really
yes,
is
yes.
intrusive.
Oh my gosh, yeah. It's funny you mentioned that because that's one thing I really had to learn this year. Because again, it just I literally there was one day in particular, I guess that was like my breaking point. I was like, I need to just get off of social media. Like I can't take it anymore. It was just too much, like just negative. What's the word? I don't even know the word. I was just intaking so much negativity from everything I was seeing on Facebook, on YouTube, on Instagram. Like I literally had to back up and like detox. And I was like, I made a mental note to limit how much I'm on Instagram mainly every day because it can really start to mess with you mentally, for real, for real. Like you said, it can be very intrusive if you don't limit it or somehow control it, you know? Because yeah, I mean, all the images that you see online, I mean, it can be, I mean, negative or positive. It does kind of, your subconscious like records all that, and then it can mess with your head. It really can. So yeah, you gotta be careful with how much you consume on a daily basis.
No, it's true. Even though the ones that mostly get very influenced by imagery are the adolescents. People that are still in
Hmm.
their teens and
Yeah.
even with their brain development. Pretty much our brain development doesn't start to slow down to like age 25. Around there, we formed a lot of our thoughts on what we want to be, what we want to do. And also scientifically, apparently, the prefrontal cortex also finishes development at that point. That's when
Hmm.
we really start living. We really
Hmm.
start refining ourselves. But imagery can hinder a lot of that development as we're younger, but it still affects us well into adulthood. The more we mature, we start becoming conscious of what's affecting our subconscious. So that imagery, we do have to gain control of the imagery. So
Yeah.
I guess in that sense with Instagram, as long as the people that you're following tend to have a lot of positive stuff going on, you're less exposed to that. And I think now, as we were talking about earlier, there's less bombardment of that negative stuff as opposed to before when there was a lot less control of how Instagram functions. Since it's so
Hmm.
easy, people put up so much stuff in the day that if you have 60 plus friends that you're following, it's kind of
Yeah.
hard to go through 30 minutes of seeing negative stuff when most of them are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Before I only used to have like 15 people the first time I did Instagram, and I tried creeping it only private. Little did I know is that even with those 15 people, every once in a while, they'd have their angry moments and put up stuff. And I'm like, wait a second, I just spent 20 minutes looking at their angry posts throughout the week. I don't want to see that.
Yeah.
Like, we
Exactly.
could talk about it and work this out, but just putting up that post, and even myself on Facebook, I see some of my posts from when I first got on Facebook, and I'm like, was I an angry person? I thought I was happy. Like, what was I thinking that day? I don't even believe in that exact thing that I just wrote.
Yeah. 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 It's crazy. I mean, yeah, you make a good point as far as like the people that you follow too, that makes a big difference. And sometimes it's like friends or family, so you don't want to like unfriend them because they could be your family. You don't want them to, if they somehow find out, oh, we're not friends anymore on social media, like, oh, they're gonna get all mad and offended. But you have to like take care of what you watch. And yeah, I mean, like you said, when you start following more and more people, it's like you gotta be careful who you follow. And because some people, they kind of use social media also as a way to like rant and let out their frustrations, but then it's like you end up being affected by that.
Yeah.
because you're consuming their negativity. So yeah, I mean, you gotta also kind of watch out for who who you follow. But now you do also have the options that even if you follow someone, you don't have to see what they post. So you can always go that route so that they can't get mad at you, like, oh, you unfriended me or you unfollowed me. So you can do that too if they're just like too much for you to handle. So there's some ways
Yeah.
around it.
That's true. On Facebook, there are some people that, no matter how much I care for them, I wound up muting them for about 30 days because they're going through an angry spell.
Yeah.
When I do believe, kind of, not too much solely, but in like zodiac signs and some signs, certain time of the year, they tend to be more angrier, less approachable. So
Mm-hmm.
around that time of the year, I put them on a 30-day mute and whatnot. But even at that, I still check upon them because if there's still something that's they're putting up that's too dark, that's also a way for us to also be be available to say something to them that can actually help them. Because they might be saying something and not saying what's really beneath.
Right.
However, there's been times I thought that it was deep, and then when I go and ask them, they're like, "Oh no, it was because of this." And I'm like, "You serious? You were that angry over that?"
Yeah. I don't know people like that. Or yeah, because I mean, this is the thing. People will usually take what you post on Instagram or Facebook kind of like at face value, and they'll think that this is what you're feeling in that moment. But yeah, I mean, there's people that's like, oh no, I'm not talking about me. I was just putting it out there just to put it out there, blah blah blah. And it's like, well, you should be more careful what you post because people are going to think you're talking about yourself, and it's something that you're going through. So yeah, I mean, I see that too.
Yeah. And then
Mm-hmm.
the political thing. Apparently nowadays, everybody thinks that they
Oh
can
man.
really speak on stuff that's politics and with
Yes.
things that happen in the
Yeah.
area. And it's like, you do realize that your area is only one speck of what's happening everywhere. So imagine if
Mm-hmm.
everyone's thoughts from every area is coming out all into one. It'd be like a big old accident.
Yeah.
We can't all
Yeah.
consume all of that, but if you can keep that really solely in your area and directly affect that with the people you know, I think that's more important than trying to be all political and stuff. Just be positive to the people you love. Talk to the people you love. See what they're up to. What way you can help them. When they need the space,
Mm-hmm.
give them their space. Just love and respect each other. There's nothing political
Yeah.
about that. But for some
Right.
reason, that also affects the political climate in people's area as well.
Right. No, I mean, I've definitely noticed across all kind of social media, people are becoming very political, and you know, uh, woke culture is also real big. Yeah, it's like, oh man, people get real serious about it. I mean, people are literally having fallouts with their friends and their family over political stuff that they're posting on Facebook or Instagram. Like it's kind of real serious. I try not to get too much into politics and stuff like that, or like social justice type of stuff. Like I don't know. I mean, I know I sometimes make videos kind of related to that stuff, but for the most part, I try to not get too involved and let people have their opinions and their thoughts and not force my opinions onto people because it can turn into a fight. But yeah, no, that's definitely a trend I have noticed, especially this year. Yeah, got real political.
Politics. I personally think that I suck at politics. I personally think that I have a whole lot to learn about politics.
Same here. Same here.
And when it comes to stuff with like social issues, we have so many different opinions on social issues that
Yeah.
it's impossible to really agree in the end. But more important than anything, I feel as long as we actually listen to each other, we can start to realize that maybe some of our views kind of suck. The same way as if the next person listens to what I have to say, they can also see that my views can also kind of suck. And
Hmm.
like what I was saying earlier, when the really younger generation says something without being interrupted and puts it on social media, and they might want to delete it a few days afterwards. When you get to hear that feedback directly. Like now you're judging yourself. You start
Yeah.
saying, I don't like that. But we all need to be able to communicate with each other. Sometimes when we say stuff out loud, we realize, wait a second, the way they reacted, although they were positive, it's not really the same reaction that I thought it would get as it usually does. So
Mm,
almost like testing the waters. You drop a grain of salt in water, does it dissolve? There's only one way to find out. You have to do it over and over again. Um, I can imagine when you were 16, there must have been something you said that nowadays it's like, if you actually do remember, it's like, did I really say that? Like, no, I don't think like that. Like that was stupid. I
mm-hmm.
mean, and that's part of us maturing.
Yeah.
It might be something so minuscule, like I really didn't like eating this type of burger. Now I do. Or I didn't like eating this type of pasta. Now I do.
Yeah.
It's like our palates, they always change. So the more
Right.
mature we get, a lot of our thoughts also change as well.
Yeah. Oh yeah, no, for sure. Yeah, I mean, like that's part of growing up, maturing, and then I think also, I mean, just as you go through different life experiences, that's of course going to shape your thoughts and how you view certain things as well. So yeah, when you get to our age, yeah, looking back on things you did or said when you were 15 or 16, it's like, oh my God, what was I thinking? But, whatever that thought was most likely shaped by my experiences and my worldview, I guess you could call it, at that time in my life. So as you grow mature, of course, your worldview changes as well. So yeah.
Amen. Especially
But
your environment mean you absorb, and as you start letting that play out into the into the world, does it function as you're using it? Then you start seeing maybe some of these things, I'll refine them a little and I'll get a
mhm,
different outcome. So, as much
yeah,
as I would like to say to a 16-year-old, hey, you shouldn't think that way, they have to learn on their own and test it.
yeah,
And they'll learn the hard way or even the easy way. Um, I can't expect everyone to be an intellectual. Not everyone likes to hear what they don't know. Sometimes we like to only hear about what we do know because it's
mhm,
safe.
yeah,
But as time comes passing, the older we get, the more we start becoming more and more interested in what we don't know. Like, you mean to
that's
tell me
true.
all of that was happening when I was that young and I missed it?
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I mean, no, that's something I noticed with myself really within like the past, I guess after turning 30. So within the past year or two. Yeah, no, I've definitely acquired more of like this curiosity for things that happened in the past or even just his history itself. Like, um, I don't know. I guess that just comes with getting older. Um, I guess as you get older and you try and seek more knowledge, you also do try and learn things that happened in the past because the past tends to tell you a lot about the present, and also even what could happen in the future. So yeah, yeah, yeah. Even like when you learn about things that were going on while you were a child, and it's like, wow, you just had no idea things that were either going on in the world or things that were going on in popular culture that again you had no idea what was going on, and then so you find that out now and it's like, oh wow, that's crazy. So yeah,
I
that
just
happened.
thought of something as you were explaining what you were explaining.
Hmm.
I can give you a pretty good example on things that were happening when we were young. Lechosa. Are you familiar with that fruit?
Yeah.
Have you ever taken a piece of it without it being in the juice?
Yeah.
It tastes like hell. Uh,
It is. Yeah, I don't like it like that.
the
I was
smell of it. And my
mm-hmm.
dad used to make a shake of it every day. Well, not a shake, more like a smoothie with just that ice and water. He used to take it every morning, about 8 or 12 ounces, depending on how hungry he was, with oatmeal and black tea, 7 days a week.
Wow.
Yeah. And if there was a weekend that he did a whole lot more than usual, on Sundays he would have a big sancocho. It's the only time he actually ate food with seasoning, because his thing every day was yuca, potatoes, corn, turkey ham, And all that's within that nature. Sometimes just chicken with no flavor, just
Mm,
steamed. Yeah, and to this day, he's a very, very healthy man for that, and he doesn't go through a lot of the things as bad as it would have been had he not paying attention to that.
mm.
But when he would make those drinks, it would turn my stomach like I don't want. Like keep it away from me.
Yeah.
Little did I know that when you mix that with other citrus fruits, or bananas or anything with high vitamin C and potassium, you don't even
Mm-hmm.
have to put sugar. Once you mix that, it is delicious.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God.
Mm-hmm.
Would I
Yeah.
have listened if somebody told me that as a kid? I don't know. But I did discover it that when you have it mixed with other stuff in a blender, it's just amazing. It heightens it. I think the best combination is with banana and mangoes.
Mm.
Yeah, pero la lechosa, that thing smells. Ugh.
Yeah, by itself, nah, no good. Yeah.
Ay,
Wow.
Dios mío. So on that note, I think we pretty much covered everything on this subject.
Okay.
Unless there's anything you would like to add.
Um, Not necessarily. I guess I will say, um, I think we're in an interesting time as social media itself keeps evolving, and its impact in our lives keeps evolving. Um, Although I'll say it seems like it's becoming more intrusive, but I think it will be interesting to see how things continue to play out as far as the role of social media in our lives, the role it has as far as how we communicate with each other and with the world, and um, yeah, just seeing how much a part of our daily lives it continues to become. And I think also because with the pandemic and everything, we're just becoming even more reliant on it, even as a source of income. So yeah, I think it's just going to be interesting to see how this all kind of plays out.
Wow, very interesting point. It certainly did speed up the process in which people had to get good at navigating through social media.
Yeah,
It was no, I need 8 weeks, 3 months. Otherwise, you don't get to communicate with certain people.
yeah, yeah, that's
Wait till
true.
I see you. I don't know when I'm going to see you.
Basically, yeah, and especially for people like working from home. I mean, I'm working from home. I've been working from home since March, and my job uses social media to an extent, and also things like Zoom and stuff like that. So it's like you had to get tech savvy, or you're gonna be left behind. So
Amen.
yeah, yeah,
Well, thank you, Christina, for coming once again on my platform. And
yeah. Thank you
aunque
for having
estamos
me again.
supuesto no, ese 90% en español,
¿Qué se va
pero
a
está
hacer?
bien.
It's hard porque se nos hace más fácil hablar en inglés porque ya eso nos sale naturalmente. So, I don't know. Yeah,
Claro, son dos formas distintas como pensar en español y otro en inglés.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yo hallo que en el español yo soy una persona mucho más contento en español que en inglés.
Uh,
A veces con el humor yo hallo que en inglés los chistes son más fuertes que en español. Pero en el español tiene más colores diferentes que en el inglés, que en el humor.
mm, true, true. Yeah, no, en español hay cierta manera de expresarse que no existen en el inglés, o cierta palabra realenga de esa, like slang words and stuff. It's like when you try to translate it to English, it just makes no sense. But in Spanish, it's super funny. So yeah, it like you said, it is two very distinct ways of expressing yourself.
Hay una palabra que me encanta utilizar cuando, ¿sabes? Como cuando una persona te cae pesado y son tan antipáticos que me gusta usar la palabra asqueroso. En español suena con tanto ching, pero en inglés como que no tiene el mismo gusto. Disgusting, no se puede.
No, no, no es lo mismo. Uh-uh. Asqueroso de diablo. When you say that, it's like, oh, yeah.
Sí, asqueroso. Like, ya con eso lo mataste.
Yeah, yeah. That's so true. That's so true.
It was a friend of mine that he's a musician and he's also a stand-up comedian. He had put a post up about cuando la gente te dicen ya está bueno, pero al final le dicen coño. Like that's not what you think it is. Like there's no way that they're trying to be like emotional. No, ya está bueno. It's like okay, depending on how you finish it, really changes that. Because I use that sometimes. Okay, ya está bueno con esto. Me voy a callar la boca. Se está
Mhm.
haciendo tarde y te voy a dejar. I do that when I'm on a phone call and I realize our conversation is going like 2 or 3 hours. And there's times that conversations could just keep going. In
Yeah.
fact, the same exact person that said that, had a 6 hour long conversation. We went way past the podcast and it just kept going. But I agree with him. Cuando te dicen ya está bueno, coño, es que está harto. Ya ese es otra cosa, ese es otro animal.
Yeah, that's very true. That's very true. That final coño, that's all it
But in
so
English,
you
when you
know they're
say
not playing.
damn, no es lo mismo en
Mhm.
inglés cuando dice damn.
No, no, mm-mm, not the same at all.
So
That's so
what's
funny.
your go-to word?
My go-to word. Hmm. I don't know. Do I have a go-to word? Like when I'm angry or just
Yeah, like when somebody like really turns you off.
um I don't know. Cause see, I'm usually not so direct to the person. Like if I get really angry, like I tend to kind of shut down and I won't say anything. And my face just goes real blank. So I don't know. I don't know if I have a go-to word when I'm like really fed up. I
Wow.
don't think I have one. No, I think I don't
How
think I
about
have
this one? After the fact, when you think about that person and you don't want to see that person ever again, is there a word that comes to mind in Spanish?
one. Well, one word that came to mind was azaroso, but I don't know. Is that
That works.
um that or like ese desgraciado, like yeah.
That works. Yeah. Hey, I can agree with that one with Azaroso. I mean, it's right kind of like in
Mhm.
the same. Tiene el mismo swing, tiene el mismo fuerte la energía como aqueroso.
Yeah.
Sí,
Even like when people say
azaroso.
yeah, or even saying like ese hijo su madre, like even though when you translate into English, it's like son of his mother, okay. But when you say it in Spanish, it's like totally different meaning. Like you know what somebody means when they say that.
No, when I hear that, when people say ese hijo es su madre, I hear them like expressing themselves, but at the same time, es como un poco sano because they still didn't curse like their mother. They could have said
Yeah.
hijo de su maldita madre.
Yeah.
Pero cuando le dicen hijo de su madre, it's like they want to let it out, but like they don't have any room in their heart to have that type of
Yeah.
anger.
Yeah.
And I notice in Spanish, you get
Yeah.
room to vent it without really being so insulting and
That's
disgusting about
very
it.
true. Very true.
But in English, I can't find any words that are like that.
Yeah.
Like even the word jerk doesn't let it all out really.
Nah. Nah. It
Like that
doesn't.
bad person. it- He's so mean. I don't like the meanness of that. No, no tiene el sabor. Pero en español,
Yeah.
cuando tú le dices, tú esa gente ahí, ten cuidado, eso no sirve.
Mm.
There's that gratification of like, yeah, like that person is worthless, but
Yeah.
you still don't sound as gritty and kind of low life-ish.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I mean, in that sense, Spanish is definitely more it's not as limiting as English is. Let's put it that way. English is a lot more limiting when it comes to ways to express yourself in like different degrees if that makes sense.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that makes a lot of sense.
Mm-hmm.
'Cause,
So,
wow. Yes, that
interesting.
makes a lot of sense because there's levels to this. There's
Yeah.
really angry and there's really expressive without having to get here. I'm warning you, I don't want to get here, so I'll say this.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like
Yeah.
con una persona te dice, ¿y qué tú quieres? It's very, it's very endearing. But when they tell you, ¿y qué tú quieres?
Yeah.
¿Qué tu boca? Huh?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And
Yeah.
even like that, like in English, you don't get to say, you want a cookie when you angry. Pero en español te dice, ¿tú quieres una galleta?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my God.
That's funny. Yeah, no, when I hear like, tú quiero una galleta, I'm not thinking cookie galleta. I'm thinking like a smack galleta, you know?
Oh man.
Yeah, that's funny.
On that note, Christina, it's been great. It's been fun. I enjoy your input. I enjoy your
Thank you.
energy. I look forward to the rest of the videos you do. And
Thank you. Thank you. I gotta have you on my channel too. Since I've been doing a lot of these interviews, I want to continue interviewing other people, especially other Dominicans. So yeah, I'll definitely have to have you on at some point.
amen. I'm more than happy to do so. And just as well, I do know sometimes you want a female's approach, and on top of that, not just from the Caribbean, which I,
Hmm.
by the way, I did enjoy that interview with what is it, Dominican.
Oh yeah. Hmm.
I actually started following her on Instagram because of that video. I was like, oh, she's funny,
Oh, okay. Yeah, no, she is. She is.
real positive. Well,
Hmm.
my wife, she's Peruvian, so she has a lot of she has a lot of gems.
Okay.
Yeah,
Nice, nice.
especially living in a place that there wasn't many Peruvians. So
Yeah. Interesting. Okay. Nice,
um,
nice. Yeah, I don't know a whole lot of Peruvians actually.
really,
Mm-mm. I mean, well, no. Well, I know a few in high school, but yeah, there wasn't as many Peruvians as there are like Bolivians. There's definitely a lot of Bolivians here, and Central Americans, not as much Peruvians. But we do have a lot of Peruvian chicken spots that we do have.
ah,
Peruvian chicken is really good.
yeah. Oh, ¿cómo le llama? Pollo a la brasa. There we
Ah,
go.
la brasa, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh my gosh.
Yep.
You know, oh my gosh. See, I always got to be careful with this because I can always bring up something on any subject that comes about. I promise you, this is my last story. The first time I met my wife's aunt, she had asked me if I wanted anything from Peru. I was like, I only saw her one time for like 5 minutes, so I really didn't meet her. It wasn't
Mm-hmm.
until after that trip that I really got to talk to her. I feel like that's when the real introduction happens, when people get to go a little deeper in conversation.
Yeah.
And she dared to ask me. I was like, "Oh, that's real sweet." And I asked her like, "Oh, whatever you bring is fine." But then she insisted, "What do you want?" So I asked her for a cajon, the Peruvian percussion instrument, and she brought me one.
Oh.
I was like, "Damn, that's really sweet. That's really generous." And she was like, "Are you sure this is what you wanted?" Like, then afterwards, it was like I wasn't sure if she was okay with that. She did that, but after she saw me play it, and I told her, "Oh, I never played this thing before. I just had an idea of it." She was like, "Oh, you play good, and you're so sweet, and you're so this and that." And mi sobrino, ever since the following trip, she decided to bring a pollo a la brasa from Peru
Really?
on the plane, covered
I
in
was like, how did
aluminum
she get through
foil.
customs and everything?
She put it in a cooler and everything.
Wow.
And it's not like a trip to DR that's only a few hours. Like, it's a
Yeah.
long time. But she managed to bring it and it made it. And she was like, I want you to try the genuine one. Because for one reason only, although we had great experiences, it was because of the first trip that she really got to know me. At that time, my wife was was going through cancer therapy and stuff like that. So every other day, I would make like a pizza, pasta, calzones, barbecue chicken, or sometimes mango and stuff like that. Because I just enjoy cooking every once in a while, especially around people I love.
Yeah.
She looked at that as my way of like letting her know, oh, this is what we make in our culture. And I was wondering, why was she confused when I made calzones? Like, she's like, but isn't that Italian? And I'm like, no, I just like making food. It doesn't have to be Dominican food. But
Yeah.
she's like, you know what? I'm gonna show you what we have in Peru. And
Okay.
yeah, because she tried the pollo a la brasa in Manhattan.
Mhm.
No me recuerdo el nombre. It was Don. I think it was Don Limon, something like that. I might be
Mhm.
getting it wrong because I think there's a Don Limon in Miami. It's been a while, but when she tried it, she's like, it's good, but it's still not the Peruvian one.
Yeah.
Sobrino, te voy a enseñar del Perú.
Wow, that was really nice. Wow, she brought chicken all the way from over there. Dang. That's crazy.
A lot of effort.
Yeah, for sure.
So yeah, when whatever date you decide, I'll get you in communication with my wife, and you guys can coordinate a date or whatnot. And I think that would be
Mhm.
really interesting,
Yeah.
especially
Yeah.
that you have a strong musical background with playing in an orchestra.
Did she play instruments too?
Yeah, she plays violin, viola, cello, piano, and she
Oh,
has a
oh,
bachelor's in music. She's a teacher for the Department of Education, and she's also part of the Richmond County Orchestra.
wow. Okay, so y'all just a very musical family all together.
Yeah, pretty much. That's
Wow,
that's
nice.
us, and
Nice.
we're a year and a day apart, Capricorns.
Really?
Yeah,
Oh, wow, it's meant to be.
yeah. It's
Nice.
and our daughter. She likes some of our music, but she has her own taste in music. But
Mm-hmm.
time and time, she'll chime in our stuff, and now
Yeah.
she's even singing karaoke with us. So
Uh,
poquito a poco. But she is
yeah.
good at the piano. My daughter's she has about a year and a half on the piano, and she's gotten really good.
Nice. Nice. That's good. That's good. Yeah, I definitely want my girls to play instruments when they get older. Yeah. Okay.
Amen. Which at this point I'll take advantage of this moment, mean porque si no, I can keep going. I'm gonna tell myself, ya está bueno, mani cállate. Thank you, Christina. Mambo Podcast. Si te gusta la vaina, suscríbete a la vaina, dale like a la vaina y comparte la vaina. Mambo.